we humans have been around as humans for 200,000 years. We've had copper working, because you'd find literally in the old days, 11,000 years ago, you could find a lump of copper here and a lump of copper there. Yeah, you could find it all over the place. Well, not all, you could find it. And you could use it to make cups, you know, bang, bang, bang with a hammer.
It's extremely malleable.
Yeah, but that's the trouble. It's too malleable. They tried to use it to make weapons. Believe it or not, weapons technology got a lot of attention back then. And the trouble was that making a sword out of it gave it a sword with a too soft edge.
A rubbery sword.
A rubbery sword.
Yeah.
So you could bang it with a hammer and work hard on it. And that was an improvement. But suddenly, across all of Europe and into the Middle East, 5,500 years ago, so 11,000 years ago we started doing metal, and then 5,500 years ago, the metal workers around the world who were in a union, a secret union, would start adding arsenic for about 500 years or so to copper. And it had this tremendous benefit that it made it a much better weapon.
Harder.
Much harder, because you could make it really hard and then you could have a sharp edge. But if you had too much arsenic, over 2.5%, it would become brittle, so you'd bang your sword against another person's sword, theirs would survive, yours would just shatter into little pieces, bad ending. And so they kept it below 2% for about 500 years, and then, because of bad health problems, abandoned it. And the health problems show themselves in the medallions that they made of their favourite gods. All their metalworking gods had a limp.
And so this is from the effects of arsenic.
Of arsenic.
So what does arsenic do to the human body?
Specifically with regard to the limp, it causes peripheral, so that means as opposed to central, so out on the ends of your body, your hands and your feet. Neuropathy, neuro, meaning to do with the nerves. Pathy, a bad thing.
Yep.
So your foot, so as you walk, your foot goes like this, and here it would cause foot drop.
Right.
So you'd have to lift your foot up higher, awkwardly, because, or else throw your foot forward to swing the tip of it up, so you would land heel first.
So you're saying all these metal workers back in the day then, they developed these limps, and that was borne out when they revered their gods who were portrayed having limps.
We think that's the pathway. In Rome, they had Vulcan. The Greeks had Hephaestus. The Finns had Ilmarinen. The Germans had Rolunda. And the Scandinavians had Wieland and also Thor. And this will make your heart weep. At one stage, you weep terribly, because at one stage, when I was a taxi driver, I had the complete set of Thor comics. And I gave them away.
It's all right, you can watch the movie now.
Yeah, but in the Thor comics, when he was in his human role as a doctor, he had a limp.
Strangely enough, the dangers of arsenic were well documented back then. Today, arsenic's still in use. You can find it at the local playground.
When they brought out CCA, which is copper, chromium, arsenic, wood, which was coated with that green stuff, they said it'll be resistant to termites, that's good. And at the time I thought, it cannot be good bringing arsenic into the environment. And we have not had the studies looking at the kids in the playgrounds going, crawl, crawl, lick, lick, eat the arsenic, chew on it, here's a wood chip that's come up. We do not have the studies. I'm hoping that it hasn't spread into the kids, but if you don't look, you won't know.
But you're also worried when it breaks down, it could leach into the water table.
Oh, as well, and then there's always chips and the kids are running into it and knocking it off. I think it was a bad thing, but I haven't read any studies on it.
Well, and how are they disposing of it? I mean, you wouldn't want to be burning it, would you? And inhaling those fumes.
Inhaling the fumes or working with it with a circular saw and then vaporising it, that's a really efficient way of getting the fumes of the outside of the wood. So the inside is okay, but the outside, it gets really hot when it hit with a circular saw blade, and the copper and the chrome, and especially the arsenic, could enter you and cause all sorts of things like you could have the skin rashes, the hair loss. I haven't seen any reports on it.
So is arsenic used anywhere else at the moment? I mean, some animals actually need arsenic, do they not?
Okay, about 500 years ago, Paracelsus said all drugs are poisons. What matters is the dose. So you would drink 3 litres of water a day, that's good for you. 13 would kill you. So it turns out with some animals, like the pigs, arsenic can be a tonic in very low doses. And so they give it to them, it goes into the pig, it makes them grow better, it leaches out again, they kill the pig, they sell it, they've got a bit of extra growth. But it's not common at all. They're moving away from it simply because once you put something bad into the chain of life and the biology, it can slightly veer off and then end up in bad places and give us bad results. You're better off not bringing it into the food chain in the first place.